Yes, Sir Hairless here. I just opened YouTube to do my usual daily routine of checking comments, and I had received a couple of comments letting me know of a new Ado song. Why is this so interesting? Well, apparently her identity is shown in this new song. Up until this point, no one knew who she was, which is certainly very intriguing. I've only heard one Ado song before that was fairly recently, and that was her song Usewa. I was so intrigued by her anonymity that I simply have to go and watch this new song. It was released less than an hour ago and already has nearly 200,000 views. Okay. This is intense. Musically, especially, there's so much going on. Visually too, of course. I know I'm mid-phrase right now, so we will carry on in just a moment, but first, a couple of things. Let's start with the song name, Vivarium, in case anyone doesn't know what that is. It's like a miniature garden type thing. It's a cool name for a song that represents the miniature garden of her closet where she used to record. I've seen that closet. After my first time hearing Ado with her song Usewa, I then went and watched a video on her channel that was called Artist on the Rise Ado, which gave a little bit of insight into her, which was really interesting for me, seeing her for the first time. So if you're interested in seeing that as well, that will be linked below in the pinned comment. In this song though, I mean, there's so much going on, and I want to quickly just kind of talk about the rhythms. The rhythms are just insane. The drumming is ridiculous. We can hear in the lower register of a guitar, do 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 dum ba bum, that kind of thing. If you listen really carefully, it's just all a bit crazy to come at the rhythms from a bit of a broader angle. So far, I believe technically we can count in common time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 beats in a bar. My fingers were doing the 4 beats per bar there, which works with her melody, you know, they align. But some of the instrumental sections, or even just the instrumental bits underneath her melody, they're crazy. We have these potential polyrhythms, so different instruments are thinking in different time signatures. So there, that made more sense to count in threes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Although it's still not that simple. It's very complex. Overall though, whether you count in 3 or count in 4, they match up at the end. So this is some crazy clever instrumental writing. It really reminds me of a group called Polyphia. If you don't know Polyphia, check them out. Maybe you can start with my first time ever discovering them as well. It was a complete mind-blown experience. So yeah, I won't go into too much with the song. Let's carry on. I just want to say I am enjoying the vocal harmony that we get to so far. It's really interesting. We start off in this bit with a more tertiary relationship. Then we switch to them singing in thirds. So her melody, the harmony line, together. Harmony in thirds is the most kind of unifying harmony we can get. And then they've moved to singing in octaves, so one line down in the chest voice, the other up in the head voice. And then back into a more subtle harmony there. At the end of the octaves part, we have some crazy slap bass coming in as well. Oh, so rhythmic. Just before that as well, we actually had some kind of like screamo death metal vocals, which is a type of harmony, and they're singing homophonically with her as well, so singing the same words at the same time in the same rhythms. Very intense song, and it seems to be quite self-deprecating as well, so coming from a place of retrospectiveness, nostalgia perhaps, looking back, but yeah, self-deprecating as well, which is interesting. Oh, I love these kind of blink and you miss it, you know, super, super quick slap bass moments, almost as if they serve a purpose to separate sections, like the section that we just heard finishes with it. It's not really a section though, I don't know, it's interesting. I'm using the word interesting a lot because I'm finding this song extremely interesting. I've paused again because I need to rest my brain. That's how it is. The rhythms that are being played by the drums here are completely contradicting her melody, which is a bit of a brain poof moment. And I'll just say that again, the drum rhythms are contradicting her melody. Let's listen at half speed to hear that. Excuse how weird that sounds at half speed, but sometimes you have to slow it down to really hear something. It reminds me of a crazy David Bowie song, Alabama song, that exhibited a similar thing. But the drums here are in no way related to the rest of the music.
To say goodbye, we've lost.
What's going on? What is going on? Yeah, let's go over some more things that we've heard so far. The lyrics are very kind of introspective. Wherever I click, let's just have a quick read of them. So I find the piece peeling off the emotions, that light swaying in the distance. A mirage wanders into the cluttered room. Is a defect something special? If so, I'm a fraud from the very start. There's that self-deprecation I was talking about. And I'll be perfectly honest, this song, much more than many other songs I react to, it's very difficult to try and follow along with the lyrics and comprehend them at this lightning speed, as well as the music in which we're getting multiple different rhythms at the same time, the harmony, the video. It's very, very overwhelming, and it's really quite difficult, to be honest, for me to speak to you now and make sense of anything. So I'll do my best, but I might miss some things, you know, it's just how it goes. In terms of her vocals, there's just such a big variety. We saw this in Usewa as well. Just in those few seconds, we got grit, regular chest voice, straight tone, vibrato, airy sound, a little yodel in there as well. Because yodeling, by definition, is the very rapid alternation between chest voice and head voice. Then an important line inside this dim vivarium, vivarium being the title word. With really quite high upper harmony as well. Up there, it's high. That's just below there, which is the top note a typical chorister might be expected to sing. And even though there's so much going on and everything seems very manic and rhythmic, there is a flow, I would definitely argue, to the melody. It flows really well. It's almost smooth in a way, even though by definition, a lot of it is not smooth. A lot of switching between registers or the type of sound or the texture or the timbre that you're singing with. The rhythms aren't necessarily smooth, chum, 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 quite regimented. Overall though, I don't know, smooth is the word that comes to mind, which is in itself contradictory. And that's why I think it's very interesting. And then we get this lovely chord, a luscious chord, which we can all agree should kind of resolve to this. Maybe not in the wider context of this song, but that's what you might expect. Instead, what happens? We get, which isn't quite as natural sounding. In a way, it's almost smoother. There's less movement and it just works well. For longer term Ado fans who have heard many of her songs, this must be so exciting to watch. You can see her. Never a full frontal facial image. Yeah, I understand that. She is somehow maintaining her anonymity. But it's like a tease, and it's something. I can imagine many people are now thinking, oh, in the next video, are we going to get more of a facial reveal? I don't know. I'm getting excited, and I've only heard her, well, this is my second time hearing her. I do love all the lines that we're hearing. The guitar, essentially acting just as much as a rhythmic device as a harmonic device, playing a chord, but also the rhythms complementing the percussion. And then above it, it's impossible to sing and replicate it at that speed. Also, it's up an octave. Yeah, there's just loads going on. Let's carry on because my brain's gonna explode otherwise. One final thing, actually. In my recording software, you'll notice this kind of equalizer here, and the louder it is, the higher it goes. Typically in songs, well, let me just play a bit of another song.
I would give everything I own.
You can see how it's going doof, doof with all the beats, but here, if I go to any moment of the song we've heard so far, notice how there's basically no movement, which is a testament to how well produced and well mixed this is. I just thought that was quite interesting, so worth including in the video. All right, let's carry on with this song. If you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting me. You can buy me a coffee or hot chocolate, join our Patreon for loads of additional content that's not available on YouTube, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. All options are linked below, and a special thanks to everyone on the screen. Back to the video. Oh, I mean, the attention to detail in the smallest things, like right here where we've just paused, everything comes off just for a fraction of a second. There, that's literally what I'm talking about. Everything comes off for a millisecond except for her vocals, which power through. It's like an ever so temporary mental reset or like a mental short circuit. Do you find that as noticeable as I do? I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. But things like that just really stick out to me. Maybe because the music is so intense that any sort of respite from it is like a temporary moment where you think, oh, I can relax. A bit silly to say that because that was quite literally a fraction of a second. On this same point, it's intense. I simply have to say how amazing I think this video editing is. It's crazy. The style of the song as well. There are moments where I can just really imagine it being in a Japanese cartoon. I don't watch Japanese cartoons at all. I don't think I've really ever seen any. I know they're hugely popular. If you're watching this, maybe you do, so you can let me know in the comments if this is quite fitting of certain Japanese cartoons. You see what I mean? Yeah. So fair play to the video editing. Unreal. Adds to the overall intensity of everything. I mean, here we do actually have, you know, cartoon clips of her running, a transition between the cartoon her and the real her, which is very cool. The music here is particularly intense. It's certainly not peaceful, highly discordant and essentially noises. That really, really exaggerates the peace that comes in the next moment. And from a rhythmic standpoint, earlier I was saying how we can technically count as 1, 2, 3, 4 common time, and that's exactly what we're getting here, and it's so obvious now that they're showing us it's obvious. Not so obvious now with the crazy guitar and everything coming in, but her melody is very much chum, 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 chum. Strain moving up, tension increasing, all of this, you know, suspense. And that's where we got to. How long's left? Over a minute or so, so let's carry on until the end. Well, that was something. That was something. I've heard Ado 2 times now, and both times has been very, just really, really interesting. So much crammed into these songs. I can only imagine how long it takes her to make these. And I would also love to be a fly in the wall when she is coming up with the concepts. Musically, structurally, there are just so many interesting things and I have so many questions, but I've been talking for long enough. I'm not going to talk anymore. So let's wrap this up. I'm going to go and listen to this a number more times because I'm not sure what I think of it right now, to be honest. It's so intense. I'm going to need to listen when not thinking about what I might need to say and all of that. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you want to see more Ado by liking the video. Also, comment other Ado songs that you'd like me to check out. If you don't want to write any words, emojis are good too. So today's emoji will be the mind blow emoji just because there was so much going on in that. Thank you once again, and I will see you in the next one.